Hello, hello. Happy Thursday. I'm still blown away by how fast this year is going. It's already almost a half of a year has just gone by. It's just flown by. I don't know where it's gone. Like the time just seems like it was like yesterday that it was January 1st and now look at us. Look, it's like this June 27th. It just kind of freaks me out. Um, I don't know what to say other than, yeah, it just kind of freaks me out that it's just so fast how I think time is, flying by. Sorry about that. I was just inviting some people to come on because I like to make sure that, I get my message out there, especially there might be people out there that may need to hear this. So my name is Leslie Cadet, and I am an empowerment coach. And what I do is I help my clients get a handle on their mental clutter so that they're freed up to pursue their dreams and aspirations and turn their visions for their lives into their realities. So today I wanted to come to you about the 3 R's of habit change. And this is really near and dear because it's what I do. It's really based around what I do. Help people with mental clutter is really all based around habits, right? What do we do? So the 3 R's of habit change, I'll list them out for you, and then we're going to get in a little deeper. So number one is the reminder. That's the trigger that initiates how you react and you respond to something. So whatever it is that you're in the middle of and something happens, that's your reminder, that's your trigger. Number two, routine, your response, the action that you take to that trigger. And number three, your reward. So the benefit of your action to your trigger is whether it's going to take you down the path to guilt, shame, and you regret, or you have a positive reaction. So you've learned to be self-aware of your surroundings, of what you do, of your triggers, and you've learned to incorporate things to help you get through that, ultimately takes you to a more positive path. So let's get down to habits. So you don't actually eliminate a habit, you just replace it with something new. You replace it with something better. So you have a negative habit, you don't just say, okay, I'm quitting. Because a lot of the time, you can't just quit if you don't give yourself something else to replace it. I was reading about habits and came across an article that said, number one, sometimes the benefit is biological, like with smoking or drugs or drinking. Sometimes it's emotional, like when you stay in a toxic relationship. And sometimes it's simply to cope with stress. For example, you bite your nails. I used to do that. So when I was younger, I used to bite my nails. I had a lot going on when I was younger. A lot of stressful things happened in my life, some trauma. And I was biting my nails. And so what my mother did at that time, because I think, and I don't know if people still do this with their children, but my mom allowed me at that time to wear clear nail polish because she figured that if I had something on my nails that didn't taste so good, that I'd stop biting them. And she was right. So that worked. So she helped me in that essence, and that time where I had the bad habit of biting my nails. My mother found something to, instead of eliminating me biting my nails, she found something better by allowing me to wear nail polish, because I wasn't allowed to wear makeup or nail polish until I was colored nail polish until I was over 16 years old. And that's a whole nother story. But my mom was strict with me, and I'm grateful for that because it helped me to be, where I am today, the type of person that I am today. But getting back to biting my nails, it helped me. That was her way of finding a solution to my bad habit. So the article goes on further to say that these benefits or reasons extend to smaller bad habits as well. So for example, you open your email in the morning, right? And you feel like you're connected because you got a lot of emails, people are reaching out to you. So you need to get back to them. It can work the same thing for Facebook, when you get Facebook Messenger, where you're getting messages and you have a lot of messages. But then maybe looking at how many emails or messages you have, well, it might destroy your productivity. If you've ever felt like that, overwhelmed by all your emails or maybe all your Facebook messages. I know I have at times, and I've learned to cope with that. But how have you ever felt that way? If you can relate, please put a 3 in the chat. So another issue with so many emails to look at, it can divide your attention and ultimately overwhelm and stress you out. Yeah. On the flip side, though, it can prevent you from feeling like you're missing out. Why? Because bad habits provide some form of benefit in your life. It's hard to simply eliminate them. That's why simply saying just stop doing it doesn't always work. Here's another example, smoking. It can be a stress reliever. It's a bad habit though, right? Instead, you can replace this action of smoking with something else to deal with your stress. So you distract yourself with something more positive. In the article, when I read further, they were talking about, deep breathing exercises to help you with, getting over wanting to have a cigarette. Now, I was a smoker years and years ago. In fact, the last time I smoked, I was 18 years old. So that was many years ago. For me, what was really, I guess, a good thing about it is that it was giving me headaches. So I'm not saying that getting headaches was great, but because of that, it allowed me to just say, you know what, no more, I'm done. But yeah, it wasn't a good habit for me to have. So number 4, you switch out your bad habit to a positive. And yes, sorry, not number 4, I should say, switching out your bad habit to positive habit can be extremely hard. Yes, very true, because especially if you smoke or you drink, these are addictions. So those are hard to get a handle on. They're hard to beat. So with that, you're going to need help. You're going to need help with outside sources. And that's, reaching out to people that can help you with that. I'm not talking about that kind of bad habit. I'm talking about maybe, for example, social media. Instead of mindlessly scrolling through your feed for hours on end, because that can happen. You can just get caught up in the moment. You're going to, oh, this person's doing this. Oh, look at that video. Oh, and you can just go on and on and on. That's taking away your time from doing other more important things that might, especially if you're trying to start a new business. So you're procrastinating through using social media because you don't want to deal with all the stuff that you have to do. Anyways, instead of mindlessly scrolling through your social media, set a time limit on it. So if you get on social media, for example, Facebook, and you've decided I'm going to be on for 15 minutes tops, stick to it. Put that as your switching, you're eliminating for a positive habit. So instead of scrolling mindlessly, you've allowed yourself 15 minutes and you stick to it. Being self-aware is so key in this, because if you are aware of what you're doing, you are more likely to make these changes. So try to cut your triggers. Example, if you smoke when you drink while you're out, then stop going to the bar. Like, don't go to a bar or a party. I mean, I know this is one of their the articles, one of their ideas of how to quit, that bad habit. And again, with smoking and drinking and drug-related issues, it's really hard to just simply put something simple as that, as changing your habit. It's a lot deeper than that. And again, you'd have to, go to outside sources, people that can really help you with that. How about this? But this is one that maybe you can deal with. Although having this this can go deep as well. But if you're the type of person that only eats junk food when you have it in the house, then don't buy it. Just simply don't buy it. Because a lot of the time when we're stressed, what do? We stress eat. So stress eating isn't good for you either. Surround yourself with people who live life the way you want to live. That's number 4. So if you know somebody who's all about healthy living, like healthy eating, they exercise, they're putting themselves out there doing really positive things, then surround yourself with people like that. Get to know them more. That will help you to eliminate your bad habits and replace them with good habits, and maybe your lifestyle will change for the better for yourself. Visualize your successes to things you want to achieve. So you have a goal, you have aspirations, you have a dream. Visualize it. Go into detail in your mind, like, what is it that I want? What does it look like? Work backwards. Wow, what was this? How did I get here? How did this happen? And be excited about it. Good morning. Thank you for joining. You know, in order for you to get success, a lot of the time you have to visualize it. You have to believe in it. So again, visualize your successes to things that you want to achieve. Be your true, authentic self, always. In other words, don't try to be something that you aren't. You ever had that where you're around certain people and you start to act a certain way and you realize, what am I doing? Like, who is this person? Because I don't know myself when I'm with these people, that I'm trying to be something that I'm not. Good morning. I don't understand that. Why am I changing to be like that person that I'm with? Now, don't get me wrong. There are great people that you will have come into your life that you might want to emulate. But what I'm trying to say is this: don't try to be something that you're not, because it'll only stress you out, and it's going to make you feel unhappy. Ultimately, you will feel unhappy because you're not being true to yourself. You're not being who you are, and you're always trying to be something that you're not. You're always trying to, like, in other words, for example, there's that example of people who may try to look from the outside like they have it all together, you know, financially. So they've got the big house, the fancy car, they go on these amazing vacations, but they're really, actually, you want to hear something really crazy? When you look at people like that, sometimes they're just living paycheck to paycheck, which is kind of scary when you think about it, because you look to them thinking, oh, they've got it all together, and I might want to. I look to them and I'm thinking, what are you doing? But in reality, they don't have it all together. They just have the facade of having it all together. And we're looking at them thinking that they have it all together. And that's the face that they're putting on, because why? They're not being true to who they really are. So if you have the means to live a certain way, that's amazing. I congratulate you. But I always think that if you're making a certain living, you don't have to live right at the cusp of the next level. Like, don't max yourself out that you can't enjoy your life. I've known a lot of people who are extremely wealthy, and when I look at their lifestyle, I'm thinking, wow, I would never in a million years know that you're a multimillionaire. In a million years. Why? Because they don't live that way. They're not about fluff and putting out a face there, because it's not who they are. They stay true to who they are. Just because they have money and have the means to be able to do what they want, when they want, how they want, they just chose to just stay true to themselves. So, and that being true to yourself also leads me into having core values, like who you are as a person. I've talked about this before. My core values are integrity. That's my first core value. Next is empathy, courage, and kind. And as you noticed, integrity is my very first one. It's the one that I hold to the highest regard. I try to do the right thing all the time, as often as I can. I'm only human, so I make mistakes, but I try to do the right thing all the time. Why? Because it's important to me to be that person. And it's important to me to be that person for myself. And especially with what I do, it's important to me to have that integrity, to do the right thing, so that I have that as the person that I show up every day. So core values, very important. And here's one last thing. So I also talked yesterday in my live about using the word yet. You know, like I haven't accomplished something yet, or I haven't lost the weight yet, or I haven't, whatever it is, you fill in the blank and you put yet. So yet is a really important word. I've talked about that. But I also say use the word but to overcome negative self-talk. For example, I feel unhealthy and out of shape. but with a little hard work and dedication, I can turn that around. So sometimes hearing the word but is okay. Using the word but is okay. Like I know you'll hear sometimes people will say something and then the word but comes after it and you're just you're left waiting. Well, in this case, use that word but for yourself in sentences when you find yourself going down into negativityville, down the road, down the rabbit hole, so to say, of negative feelings and negative self-talk. Always make sure that you use the word yet or use the word but to describe something. So take the negative to a positive. Be aware. So here's something to be aware of, some questions you can ask yourself. When does my bad habit usually happen? So again, they use the, earlier, as I was saying in the article, they use the reference to smoking. When they drink. So they said, don't go out to a bar. Well, so if you smoke when you drink, only when you're out when you're out at a bar or at a party and you find that's when you smoke, they say to avoid these situations. Well, it's just being aware of how you react when you're in these situations, what happens. How often do I do it daily? It could be anything. So for example, you get stressed out. And maybe you have this goal of yours. I've used this reference before. You're trying to lose a couple pounds, maybe 10 pounds, and you're having a hard time because usually the last 5 to 10 pounds is really super hard to lose. And so you get stressed out. Something happens in your life and you get stressed out. And so what happens then? Well, you might eat a bag of cookies instead of one, or a whole bag of chips. I used to be that girl that would eat a whole bag of chips. And I'm not talking the little bag, I'm talking about the big family size bag. I could not eat just one. Thanks. I will use, but to challenge the negative self-talk. I'm learning to change my self-talk from negative to positive. Yes, Kenitra, you're right. I mean, it's so hard because, we tend to focus on the negative. We do. We tend to focus on the negative self-talk rather than the positive. We're so quick to criticize ourselves than lift ourselves up. We're so quick to find what's wrong with ourselves than to find what's great about ourselves. When was the last time you celebrated your wins, right? When was the last time you actually acknowledged that you did something great? Like, for example, just say you had a great, meeting with a new client, or you signed a new client, or you took a workshop and you learned something new about yourself. Those are all wins, but we don't celebrate those things. Something bad happens and that's the first thing our mind goes to. So where am I when it happens? So again, going back to the bar analogy. So when someone is out at a bar or at a party and they don't typically smoke that much at home, but when they're out, they find that they chain smoke. So again, they say to avoid those situations. Who am I with is another question. And what triggers my behavior? So again, going back to the analogy of being out at a bar, that is the trigger for the person to smoke while they are drinking. So anyways, being aware of what triggers us to our bad habits is really important. So again, getting back to the 3 R's of habit change, which was really what this was all about, is the reminder, which is your trigger. What your trigger is that gets you to react and respond the way that you do. Your routine, which is your action, your response to your trigger, and then your reward. It's the benefit of your action. So the benefit, depending on if you're self-aware, if you're self-aware and something happens, so for example, I'll go back to the smoking analogy. You're at a bar, you know that you smoke when you drink, but you decide to stop yourself. You say, no, I don't feel like it. I'm just gonna be out here with my friends, have a couple of cocktails, no smoking, and that's it. You're self-aware. Or the benefit could be negative, takes you down to the road to guilt, shame, and then you regret. So again, we can go back to the whole thing about trying to lose weight, and you find yourself stressed out because you're at work, you're overwhelmed, and at lunchtime you decide to go out and have that big, you go to McDonald's, you have a Big Mac, large fries, large chocolate shake, And that's a gazillion calories over what you wanted. The fat was more than what you wanted. And here's the reward. In the instant, you felt amazing. This tastes great. I feel great. And then after you've eaten your food and you've started to process what you just did, because guilt comes in, then you start to feel ashamed for doing this because you felt like you've sabotaged all the progress, all the work that you've done, and now you regret it. That's what I'm talking about. I'm going to be actually talking a little bit more about things tonight on my workshop called The Power of the Mind Dump. It's at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Would love to have you join in, and I will put the link to register in the comments below. I have to say, the one thing about rewards, the reminder, the routine, and the reward is that it's really super hard to go through life and not be self-aware of our triggers and our responses and our rewards. You are so welcome. You know, because when you think about it, things are going to happen. Triggers are a fact of life, period, end of story. That's it, a fact of life. And if you're willing to acknowledge that, then start asking yourself the questions and start to become more self-aware, you'll be able to change how you react and you respond so that your rewards don't take you down that path to guilt, shame, and regret, but actually you become more self-aware and able to get yourself out of that pattern and make yourself, you know, get yourself doing the things that will help keep you on track. And so your reward is more positive and you have no regrets. So again, tonight is my workshop. I'd love to have you on. It's free. I have some amazing content to share with you. It could change the way you look at your life. I promise you, I made sure that what I'm going to share with you tonight is really going to be impactful. So I hope that you join in. And if you know someone who needs to hear this message or maybe even needs to jump on my workshop tonight, please share this video. Please share the link to my workshop, because I really feel like it's time that people started becoming aware of what they're doing, because if they don't, they're going to continuously go through this cycle and it can drive you crazy. I know that once I learned the skill set that I have now to help me with my life, things have changed. I'm a totally different person. I'm more confident, more self-aware, and I just feel like my life, the goals that I have, the things that are going to happen for me are limitless, and I want that for you as well. So please share this video. If you know of someone who needs to hear this, please share the link, which I've just shared in the comments, to someone in your life if you know they need to take this workshop tonight. It is, again, I said, free. And I just want to thank you for watching. It's my pleasure to be on here to share with you. I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful day. My name is Leslie Gaudette. I am an empowerment coach. I help my clients get a handle on their mental clutter so they're freed up to pursue their dreams and their aspirations and turn their visions for their lives into their realities. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye for now.